What's up, guys? Ryan here again. Gonna do another Think, Learn, and Be Vulnerable vlog. And fuck it. We're gonna talk about some more deep stuff. And I'm gonna talk about the death penalty because in Virginia, it's been repealed. It's been signed into law, and no one can receive the death penalty anymore in Virginia. And oddly enough, I've already seen people joke that if you're going to murder somebody, you do it in Virginia now. I don't know. These are in really poor taste, in my opinion. Um, but I kind of wanted to talk about where I stand on it now and my research into it and sort of like the thought process that go into it. Um, so there's a couple schools of thought about the death penalty. There's the people that are like, they deserve this. This person, whatever it is, deserves it. And they believe that the justice system should be set up to make sure that people get what they deserve. And that is called retributivism, which literally, the word, retribute is in there, right? Retributive justice. You may have heard that. The idea is somebody does something and the retribution comes back onto them, right? So in that thought process, the justice system is there to punish and to give people a sense of the punishment fits the crime. Whereas there's consequentialism, which is the idea that if we have punishments and we have deterrence, are they actually furthering the benefits of society? So the morality of the death penalty isn't really important. The important part of the death penalty, according to consequentialism, is this actually preventing murders? Because, murders are the stuff that we typically are going to execute you for. Is the death penalty preventing crimes that would necessitate a death penalty? So now where do we come in? I would argue that there's a lot of people that have been put to death that should be innocent, whether because they're not mentally fit to stand trial and should never have been convicted in the first place, whether there's DNA evidence that comes up later that actually exonerates them, whether it's just they had shitty lawyers and were improperly defended. There's a lot of stuff there, and it can happen. It's not easy, but it can definitely happen. Framing people happens all the time. So to sit here and say that the justice system is perfect, no way. That's a far stretch. The justice system, like any system, is evolving and progressing. And don't even get me started on the racist nature of the people that are in charge of the justice system: cops, judges, prison guards, etc. That's a whole other can of worms that we may dig into at some point. But to sit here and say that the justice system is perfect, we can all agree that that is incorrect. So then, how can we truly have a system of retributive justice if we're not clear on what that justice is? If we're not always achieving said justice? So, to me, the retributive argument kind of falls flat, at least when it comes to the death penalty. However, retributive justice could also be used to further other more progressive causes, as in shorter prison terms because they don't deserve that. You know, someone who is in prison for, 10 years for marijuana charges. Well, marijuana is legal now in a lot of places. And a lot of times marijuana has become subsequently legal in states where people are in jail for marijuana charges. So retributivism, would argue that they've already served their term. And in fact, the reason that they're in there is now legal. They should be let out. Well, that's an argument for retributivism. That's an argument for retributive justice, oddly enough. People get out for time served. People get their sentences commuted because they've already served their time. So I think that's good to get them out of there. But at the same time, they were put in there unjustly, illegally, improperly. That's another argument against retributivism. It's hard to say. I don't really subscribe to that, to be honest with you. That doesn't sit right to me. I believe in the Bible, there's something that says an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, or maybe that was a quote from somebody else, but I kind of feel that way. I'm just like, wouldn't it be better to think about the good of society when we make these decisions? To me, it's like if somebody commits a bunch of crimes, obviously if he murders 8 people, like that's terrible. And I'm not saying he has not earned death at that point. You take 8 lives and you only get to take 1. That doesn't seem fair either, right? But in terms of a consequentialist argument, can we remove this person from society so he no longer is a detriment to said society? Well, death does that, but life in prison also does that. And another consequence, which would come to the benefit of society, is potentially this person, while in prison, could be some form of rehabilitated and maybe actually contribute to the betterment of society. Hence, making his societal negative impact a little bit less. Maybe he can do some good with the time that he has left, even though that time will be spent in prison. There's some good to that. I can hear that. I can understand that. Okay. Maybe I'm a consequentialist. Well, let's think about it some more. Consequentialism could also mean stricter penalties for crimes that don't necessarily have what we would think of as strong enough penalties. Because again, deterrence is a big component of consequentialism. The idea is that if penalties are stricter, it will keep people from doing it. Hence, society is better for it. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know. But can we honestly say that our justice system has it like perfect? Like, oh, if you commit this crime, this is the amount of time that you deserve to be in jail? I don't think so. I mean, because crimes are always different, right? Yes, murder is bad, but what kinds of murder? We have different kinds of murder, and that's great. But do we always seek that? Do lawyers always seek that? Not always. They're human. Prosecutors want to get these people. And I think that's a problem too, is there's a lot of demonization of criminals in this country. There's a lot of ideas of lock these people up and keep them away, and we forget about their humanity. Consequentialism would actually like more disproportionately impact these people because the penalties for crimes would be a lot higher in that sense. And again, to deter crime, and then that in turn benefits society. So I'm not sure the benefiting society argument is actually the way to go either. So where should I stand? Should I go with like my animal heart, my animal brain, my animal instincts, and say, you know, get this dude? Do I believe in retributive justice? Do I go with my sort of colder, more logical mind and be like, look, what is the benefit to society here? You know, because then, like, theoretically, shouldn't we bring back forms of torture then? Because you sure as shit know I am not going to do any crimes per se, but if the penalty for said crimes was snip off your balls, boo, I'm not even touching crime. But then we live in a police state. So I'm not sure I believe in consequentialism either. So what do we do? Well, there's a third choice. True rehabilitation and abolition of the death penalty, which is where I think I actually stand now. I'm not saying criminals should not be removed from society for the benefit of society. Yeah. While they're still in that mindset, while they're still thinking and feeling and acting that way. If we take the death penalty off the table, every person, no matter their crimes, has a chance to atone for those crimes. Now, we may decide that those crimes are so bad that there is no atonement for them, or that they will have to atone for their entire lives. I think that's fine. I think that's fair. But to not teach people, to not educate people, to not take deep dives into their mental and emotional health seems cruel to me. There are some people out there that are just depraved. Okay, we need to figure that out. The justice system should not be the ones figuring that out. A mental health system and an emotional well-being system should be the ones trying to figure that out. Let's understand the reasons and the motivations behind people's crimes. And then we can figure out how to properly rehabilitate them and have them actually contribute to society again. Now, whether that is in the context of freedom or whether that's in the context of confinement, you can always contribute one way or the other. I think initially the idea of having inmates do work programs, at least on the surface, seems like a good idea. The problem is a lot of prisons are just basically using it as nearly unpaid labor and are exploiting it. And the thing is, if there's a lot of people in prisons that are innocent, then you're literally forcing slavery on people. That I'm not a fan of. So to me, the solution is let's get better at investigation. Let's get better at mental health and emotional health assessment. And let's take the death penalty off the table. Because, to be honest with you, I don't think it works from either argument. I do not think it is morally correct to be that retributive. And I do not think it benefits society as much as it could to kill someone. Yes, they killed people and that is against the law, but since when do we have the right to end another life? See what I mean? It doesn't work. It doesn't work in any argument. Plus, we also lose the benefits that we could get through rehabilitation for these people. Now, am I saying that this is going to be easy? No. But I am saying this is worth doing. How many people on death row have been executed falsely? How many people are in jail serving sentences for crimes they didn't commit? How many people are in jail right now with sentences that are way too long given the crimes that they have done? Our justice system is not perfect. We need better investigation. We need better rehabilitation. And we need to admit we will make mistakes still. You can't make a mistake on the death penalty. You just can't. Because if you do, you have taken the one thing that is most precious to any person from them, from an innocent person, their life. You've taken all the time and the days that they could have. I don't want that on my head. I don't want that on my conscience. I hope you don't either. So yeah, Virginia, good for you. Let's make that nationwide. America, we are better than this. And I've said it a bunch of times. Let's get away from antiquated ideas. Let's get away from ideas that we thought were great 270 years ago. And let's start applying modern thought and modern ideas to things. And I think the death penalty is one of them. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you later.